So good morning.
Get it.
Good morning. How is everyone po?
Good.
Good. Except
So,
mother is not here.
Ayun, nakikinig.
So I hope everyone has their materials ready. I know everyone perhaps nag-enjoy with the shopping of the materials that we have for this lesson.
Correct. Expert kami mag-shopping.
Yeah, nakita ko po yung mga shop ninyo ng items, ng mga materials. So anyway, you have access to our Google Classroom already for the basics class. This is a split class from the main group is also taking the basics class. You can also view the other class from the other recordings from the other class as well if you want, because it is a supplemental work on practice mga exercises. But I will also discuss something else aside from the one that I discussed with the other class. So both of you the other class can also benefit from this one. Again, with regards to watercolor, I know everyone is perhaps absolutely a beginner in this case. So I will spotlight my own my table, so you can see my table. All right.
Sir,
so
kailangan ba nakaganyan din yung camera namin? I mean,
not necessary. So that you can see me as I discuss my table. So my main camera is actually pointed right here in the table as of this moment. So so that you can see my the one that I'm discussing in my table.
Pero Sir Eman, makikita ka rin namin, no?
Yes po, I will try to next time with the other camera. I still have another one here as of the moment. I can plug that one in and you may be able to see me with the other camera. On our next lesson, I sorry, because medyo puno na yung ports ko with my computer. So many ports.
Okay.
So many things plug in the port right now. I also have external speakers, external mic, the camera, and including my pointer, my mouse for this one. But I will indeed set up next time with the other camera.
okay.
So for our classes, so I know and perhaps everyone is excited about this one. But let's start first with watercolor. So I know everyone here is absolute beginner, right?
Yeah. Opo.
Yes.
Yeah. I forgot my pencil. I'm just going to get a bigger one kasi mahirap makita pa rin mechanical. Okay, so manipis kasi yung mechanical pencil ko eh. Hindi siya kita. I have my other pencil. So before we start with our painting, let's go first to our materials. So for watercolor painting, we really need basic materials like paper, our brushes, and our paints. So let's discuss the materials that we have. I know that you have your paper with you. I actually asked you to buy a particular brand about. For me, that one represents the best value for money and also for the property of the paper. When it comes to painting, watercolor painting, there are actually three types of paper, three classifications, if you will, about watercolor paper. That is, we have yung cotton-based paper like the one that you have, Bauhong. The other one is yung ating mga cellulose, high alpha cellulose paper. Like this one, this is Hanson Aquarel. When you say high alpha cellulose, acid-free paper po siya for watercolor painting made from wood pulp. And then there's also the other one, yung ating tinatawag nating newsprint paper. So, that's just the regular paper, not treated with anything, newsprint quality. Sila yung mga ginagamit natin sa wrappers, mga dyaryo. They're really not that strong to withstand water when it comes to watercolor painting. And they are not also acid-free. So, they do age and yellow with time. You will see yung parang mga yellow spots which we call foxing. Na for watercolor painting, base paper is the best. For the reason that if you look at your cotton, if you have a cotton ball, the fibers are long, mahaba. So yung fibers, when they are pressed like a paper, they actually withstand water more. And watercolor papers also have what we call sizing. So the sizing is like a glue or a binder that keeps the paper from together, that keeps it from separating when you apply water. Like, bawa, naglalagas-lagas yung mga surface if you have encountered that by the other papers before. So watercolor paper has what you call sizing. So it's like a glue. Gelatin usually is the binder of choice for sizing. So that's what makes it expensive, the sizing material for the paper. If you have a tissue paper, you see if you put ink or water into it, it nagbablat siya. So it doesn't have sizing. So sizing makes the paint retain in the surface. So that's what makes it good for watercolor painting. Next, for our materials like brushes, also we have two major classifications. We have natural hair brushes like this one. This is goat hair. There is I like this one also, goat hair. We have sables, natural hair brushes, and we have also synthetics. So I have a synthetic here. This one is a synthetic from Montmartre, Taclon. So this one is softer than a regular nylon brush, but the difference of the paint. So this one is also Taclon like this. The difference with the Taclon and the other brushes is yung ating paint capacity when it comes to watercolor painting. So natural hair brushes like this one compared to this, load more, have more paint and water than the synthetic. The explanation is if you look at the natural hair brushes, it's not actually a straight brush, not straight fiber. There are some small wavy formations in the filaments ng kanyang hair that traps water, and then when you load it with water and paint, it actually carries more water and paint because of that reason. And then this one is a mixture of a synthetic and natural hair. So they blend together natural and synthetic fiber to give it more resiliency and water retention. So it has some water loading capacity and also some stiffness to it because of the synthetic. So synthetic is a little bit stiff compared to natural hair. So when you mix both, you get something that can retain more water and also be able to have that kind of stiffness when it comes to the brush itself. So this one is a mixture of squirrel and Taclon. You cannot see it because it's also dyed black yung fiber. But
Question,
yes,
man. Sorry. Hindi pa kape kompleto dyan sa brushes na yan, right?
actually the
Yan
bear,
yung, and I don't see those brushes here.
these ones are different brands. You don't necessarily have to get all these brushes to paint watercolor. These are just some of my brushes that I have
Okay.
with me right now. So I'm just giving you a general introduction to the types of brushes and materials that you can have, you can use or you can have or you can purchase. So again, we have synthetics like this one, Taclon. So synthetics, we have different classifications as well. May Taclon, nylon, mga imitation sables. Then natural hair brushes like this one. This is goat hair. And we also have squirrel like this one, squirrel hair, sable brushes. So natural hair brushes, iba't ibang grades. So this is from goat, from squirrel, from sable. Sable is from a weasel, actually a type of weasel plant. From a weasel. Then there is another grade of sable, which is the Kolinsky. The Kolinsky is um, the best type of hair that you can use for as a sable brush for watercolor painting. So this one is a Kolinsky sable, you can see there. Kolinsky sable. This one is angled brush. You can purchase this one from online. If you purchase this one online, you sadly in the Philippines there are no online stores that carry this particular type of brush that is angled and of course Kolinsky sable. So if you want to purchase that is online, the US store online is Kalish. So you will pay, for example, for shipping, and then you will arrive here about 2 to 3 weeks if you order this one online. But for starters, you can make do what with whatever of the brush that you have, as long as you have a natural hairbrush, sable, flat broad brush, and also some synthetics will also do for now. You don't really need to invest too much for natural hairbrush like this because this one is quite expensive as of the moment and also difficult to source. If you want to, you can also check that out online. This one is a good alternative. The goat hair. It's goat hair. This one is nickel plated. This one is just bounded by the wooden handle and then bound together. This is glued. So if you have goat hair brush like this one, the only thing that I have against this brush is, or this natural brush, is it tends to shed hairs when you're using it and applying paint. So that's the problem with this particular hair or natural hair of brush. Then we also have the squirrel. Squirrel is somewhat stiff when we don't have water, but it loads a lot of water compared to sable. So if you want to apply huge wash of paint, squirrel is the brush that you can rely on for that specific purpose. So this one is also Kolinsky sable. They are rounds. This one is size 4, another one is size 6. They are different sizes of this one, just from different brands. So the other one is Raphael and the other one is Da Vinci. So these are the brushes that you can use for watercolor. I would really recommend to get natural hair brushes as much as possible, even these ones for bigger flat brushes, because you need lots of water when you're working on your painting. So we've discussed that already, the brushes. Let's go now to our paints. All right, if you have questions, you can ask pala po muna about our materials, the brushes, the ones that I discussed to you. No questions po? It's okay if you can, if
No.
you have a question,
Wala naman.
you can ask me if you want po.
Mother, kapag magaling ka na, bumili ka na ng Kolinsky.
Okay. Order na tayo pag ano na.
Magkano yung Kolinsky, more or less?
Okay, there are different brands of Kolinsky brushes. Let me get my other brush.
Ay, hindi bali na po. Hindi naman pala ako bibili.
It depends on
Hindi
the
naman-
brand.
Hindi po ako bibili.
There is a brand of Kolinsky, for example, this one, the Escoda. Escoda brand is a good price for a Kolinsky. This is less expensive than the other ones. So I think the size 8 or size 10 of the, it's actually size 10 is actually size 8. It's mas maliit lang itong Escoda brand ng konti, yung size ng hair niya. I think for a size 8, it's around 1,400 for Escoda. So it's bigger than this one, the size 8. Compared to the other brands like Da Vinci and especially the brand Raphael. Raphael is much more expensive. I think I bought this one for around 3,000, the size 6, or 2,500.
O, okay na tayo dun sa China natin. Yung round natin, bangge, Chinese, yung XPD. Nakalagay Kolinsky yata yun.
Yeah. That is a Kolinsky, somewhat a lesser grade of Kolinsky. But nevertheless, natural hair. It's important to have it as a natural hair.
Ayan, natural.
Oo. Go for natural.
Okay.
Mas mura yung Escada kesa sa
Escoda.
Escada.
Koda.
Skoda. Escada pwede rin.
Kada damit, be.
Kami. Oo nga eh. Mas mura kesa sa Escada. Okay.
Oo nga.
Di bali, Sir Eman, pag magaling na kami, bibili kami ng mga high-end na yan.
Yeah, I really suggest to try to invest first really on paper compared to brushes. You can
Paper.
yeah, paper will all your work will depend on the type of the paper that you really are using. So if your paper is not good,
Why
you
is
will
that? Why is that, Sir Eman?
uh,
Why is that?
your work, 80% of the outcome of your work will depend on the type of paper that you are using. Yes, I guarantee that 100%.
Wow.
So if you're not using any a good kind of paper, even how good you are, you will not be able to produce a good outcome from inferior grade of paper, because the paper will be your support for the painting. The character of the paper will show through with your work, with your style. So if the paper that you are using is not fit for your style or the intended work, you will really have a hard time painting watercolors.
Mm. So okay tong Bauhong na academy.
Yes. From my experience, the Bauhong Academy presents the best value for your money and also for the character of the paper, the property of the paper. I've tried like this one. This one is slippery. This canson. This is cellulose. Cotton-based paper is somewhat different compared to cellulose papers like this one.
How did you open your paper, girls?
How?
Wala pa.
I did.
I did.
Paano?
I cut
Wala.
no.
Lang yung plastic.
The plastic.
Oo nga,
this
pero
is your paper, right?
siya, ganito.
Yes.
Oh.
If you notice, if you want to cut it off after you finish, there is a small side here.
Oo. Mother, you use this.
You will be able to remove it in this corner, from this corner,
Oo.
with a cutter or a leaf blade. I have a brush. I have a.
Sa akin nga may dent eh. Pwede bang isoli to, monster?
Paano mo ginawa?
No, it's okay. Even if you have some small dents with the paper, it
Medyo-
doesn't really give too much. Since on our next meeting, I will ask you to remove this one because you have the board. We will do something with the paper. So if you have your paper, the paper you have, you can remove one sheet and cut it into half and then attach it on the board using a masking tape.
Wait,
Yun yung
nabuksan mo.
pinakagusto ko. Nabuksan mo na, mother?
Hindi pa.
Yun nga.
So,
Sige,
magka-cut
nabuksan mo
kami
na.
ngayon.
No, as I am discussing, you can do that. I will just be
Okay.
discussing first.
Na-stress ako hindi ko mabuksan.
Buksan mo na. Patingin. Natanggal mo na yung plastic.
Of course, here.
O yan, tapos buksan mo na. Yan na yan, mother. Yan na yan.
Hindi, ito, tulak.
Yeah. Yan yung paper. Tapos, if you want to take it out, you use this one. Merong manipis na opening yan sa dulo dito. Ginaganon mo lang siya. Papakita ko. Yan,
Yeah, with the palette knife. Or,
Gaganon mo lang siya,
Okay.
Yung leaf
That's
na
the
pinadala
paper
ko
na.
sa'yo, mother.
Ha?
Or ni Midge. Ito.
Yung bigay ni Monster.
Ito nga, ito. Oh.
Yeah.
Parang,
Pero huwag mo munang tanggalin.
wag muna.
Okay.
I will actually ask you to prepare half of that to cut a sheet in half. Yeah.
Okay.
For our
Tanggalin
practice
na.
exercises, yes po.
Okay.
But as I am discussing, I still have something to discuss.
Okay. Masyado kang excited. Talaga naman.
Di ba?
Joke lang.
Di ba?
Okay.
Tanggalin na.
As if, pag nagdi-discuss siya, pwede ka na mag-alis.
Yes. I will be discussing first the introduction to the drawing before we begin with the watercolor painting and the exercises.
Uy.
Okay, so let me just zoom in closer so that you will see my paper. I will be discussing something related again. This is a refresher if you haven't watched the video yet of the other class about the drawing, the fundamentals of the drawing. So
What?
for drawing, there's actually 4 elements in drawing that we need to understand. So drawing, if you can say, if you say na hindi pa ako nakapag-drawing ever, drawing is just composed of actually four things when you're starting out, when you are a beginner. So if you know how to write your name, that's actually drawing. Because drawing, the 4 principles of drawing is actually what you call, first, you start with lines. So lines, the 4 elements of drawing is line. So straight lines, horizontal, diagonal, vertical, and even some wave curves. They actually are element of drawing. So if you have this one, if you know how to write your name, that's actually drawing. Second one, after a line, there comes the shapes. So when you connect the lines, for example, horizontal line, vertical, you get square, other shapes, trapezoids, circles. Circle is just a curved line, then you just continue it. You get shapes. The third one is actually what you call the shading. When you are drawing, shading. So you start with line, shapes, and then shading. This is the step-by-step process when you are doing a drawing or a painting. Shading is actually born from the concept of tonal values. So what is a tonal value? For example, if I make lines like this one, straight lines, then compress them together, it actually appears that as I go along this path, it actually becomes darker or more intense. And then as I space it out, begin to space it out again, yung appearance siya, it becomes lighter. So shading, you can use different kinds of technique to achieve this. You can use, for example, this one. Let's start with the diagonal lines. You can add another.
Dapat po ba sundan na namin kayo? Hindi naman ano.
And
Watch lang.
you can watch. This is just a discussion.
Okay.
So you can see as I go along and add more lines, mas nagda-darken siya. So this one appears lighter and then dark. This is very important when you are doing a drawing, especially when you're starting with the pencils. The shading from dark to light. You can also use yung the compression of the pencil itself when you are shading the spacing. For example, this one. So the pressure from the pencil and also the frequency of the shading can affect. So you can see dark and light. This is important when you are making a shading. So for example, let's go with the sphere. How can you show the 3D aspect of the object? By shading. So I will do a shading of this one. So beginning, you see, mukha ko ng drawing lines, the circle. Then yung nakuha natin yung shape, yung line. And then the shading process. Diba? Ngayon, you can perceive the drawing. From the simple sphere, you see, from yung circle, you get the sphere because of the shading. Parang you can see now yung aspect, the 3D aspect of the object. Okay, you can add a shadow here. For example, the cast shadow. So you start from the line, the shapes, and again the shading. You arrive with a 3D work from combination of the three things. So basically, paper is flat. So in order for you to impress the shape of the one that you perceive in your surroundings, you need to deduct from the white of the paper the value or the tones. The tonal values are very important. In order for you to achieve or to show a 3D aspect of an object in your paper. So you have a question regarding this one? We can have a fast track of this topic as well, and how this one translates to watercolor. You don't actually need to take a lot of notes. You can always have the recording afterwards po, with regards to this one.
Okay.
You have questions po?
None so far.
None.
Okay, let's go to our watercolor. Okay, I have here another paper. So this one I actually did some lessons with this one. So I still can use the back of the paper. Okay, how does this one translate? Before we proceed with the fourth topic, how does this one translate to watercolor? Okay, let's discuss that. Kunin mo lang po yung palette ko. This one has my color already. Tail sign in blue. I will use siguro itong color. Any color will do siguro. Pinalak po siya muna. Same shade with the yellow cyan in blue.
Hindi yan. Yung maliit lang. Yung nasa likod. Sorry.
Okay po. So how does this one translate the shading, the line, the shape, the shading? The shading is the important concept that we need to understand about watercolor painting, okay? With watercolor, in order for us to achieve shading, we must understand how watercolor behaves. So for example, if you have your paint right now, this one, parang konti yung tubig niya, just adding a little bit of water, you actually get a very dark color, very intense. The more concentrated the paint, you call this one the mass tone color of the paint. The more intense your paint. And then as you add more water, it lightens up. Diba? You can see it's almost light na in this section. So the same concept of the drawing applies to watercolor. The lighter your paint, you have to add more water. You have to add to thin it down. Less water, dark. So in a terminology of our watercolor painting, this is what you call the darkest part of your paint, the strong tint of the paint. This is what you call the mass tone color. And this one, the lightest one, this is what you call the tint of your paint. So the tint is actually, it's the lightest part when you add more water. It's barely imperceptible na. Again, another property of watercolor, the less water that you have, it becomes more opaque. Essentially, watercolor is transparent, but it gains a little bit of opacity when you use it from its mass tone. You add more water, again, it becomes transparent. So that's two of the properties of watercolor painting. So watercolor is all about playing the water and controlling yung amount ng water in the paint. You can test this one out in your piece of paper if you have the paper with you right now. So this is simple swatch from the mass tone color to the tint. So sana na-gets you yung principle. It's all about controlling the amount of water in the paint sa ating paper. You can test this one out now. Again, to translate this one into the 3D object, the shading. It's very important when you make a drawing using watercolor, you start it out lightly. So never start watercolor with the most or the strongest tint. Always start lighter. And then I can add more paint, more concentrated paint. Okay, I can add more paint. Ngayon, mas concentrated na yung ating paint mixture. Para kita natin. If you want to work on your paint, you have to do it while still wet so you can blend it. Otherwise, when it begins to dry, you won't be able to do much anymore with it. Kasi nag-fix na siya sa paper. Okay, more color, more strong. Ayan. If you have a hair dryer, you can dry it as well. I'll just dry it para makita natin lahat. So makita nyo, if you look at this one, meron tayong light part, which is the light, this one. And we also have the dark, which is the shadow. So you can show yung ang 3D aspect of our work because of the differences in the tones. And how you do that with watercolor is again by using or manipulating the amount of water and paint mixture when you apply it on your paper. So if you're still practicing on this one, you can practice on this simple exercise to get used to this watercolor, how you paint with this watercolor. Again, I want to remind you, you have to keep on working with the paint while the water is still moist here, because when it begins to dry, the paint uh, starts to fix on the paper. So you have to work on that one while it's still wet. The paper is still wet. Do you have a question with regards to this po?
None.
Okay, none so far. So again, this is the relationship with the shading with regards to the watercolor. Now, there's another concept that I want to introduce to you about watercolor as well. That is also related to the tonal values of watercolor. Let me get another paper. And it's also related to shading. I have here the paper. Let me just get my ruler.
Sir, question.
Yes po, yes.
Yung paper, pag na-wet mo, para siyang umaalsa. How do you that? You have to wait for it to dry or?
The paper po? Yes, you call that one buckling. Nangyayari po kasi parang lumalapad yung papel natin when you wet it. That's okay for now, the starters. As we go along, I will teach you how to overcome that one.
Recorded pa ito.
It's okay po, it's okay. I know everyone is happy. Doon naman po sa external, hindi naman po kayo kita.
Na-stress ako, sir.
Oo nga, ang question namin is, pwede ba mag-back out?
Oo nga, sir. Pwede bang,
Sabi ni
pwede
Albert,
bang inuman na lang tayo, sir?
first day pa lang daw, back out na ako. Sabi ng asawa ko, oh my God.
Sayang naman po. If you back
Kaya
out.
mo yan, mother.
This one is much more easier. This is another method of working with the watercolor. I just want you to get acquainted on the property of watercolor, how you will be able to work with that one. Sige.
Hindi, pagka may buckling nga, sir, do I have to wait for it to dry muna or patong lang ako ng patong?
You can dry po with a hair dryer.
Ready si Bangge, oh. May hair dryer na talaga, oh.
Equal yung aking space.
Sir, ano yung ginagawa mo?
I'm just making some more square patches to show you another property of watercolor.
Nag-umpisa ka na, Mi, hindi pa.
Hindi pa.
Nag-start.
Nag-ano lang ako, yung...
Ikaw,
Ginawa ko
monster.
yung reading pa lang. Ito.
Wow, nag-drawing ka na.
Reading.
Wala.
Wow, ang
Hindi
ganda,
ako wala.
Mi. Bakit sa akin ang pangit?
Monster, ikaw.
Pencil eh.
Kumakain ako eh.
Pencil lang. Okay, you can practice with the pencil. Don't worry po.
Pencil lang ako.
Akin
Mamaya
ang ang ganda ng gawa mo, Mi.
I like ano ng pencil eh.
Tuling ko nga to na.
Okay lang po yan.
Touch.
Galing ah. Wala pa.
Nasabi ko blanco eh.
Ay, Papa Bet.
Hindi pangalan niya, walang pangalan eh.
Hindi, yan o. Meron kong notes dito.
Pero pinirmahan na niya, Papa.
Sa akin din, wala. Blanco.
No, meron naman akong konti. Ayan o.
Sa cheque
Oo,
yata.
meron naman.
Ah,
Sa cheque at saka
Ito,
sa
wala.
card po pirma.
Ingat, try ko na.
Mother, hirap yan. May heckler ka dyan, no?
I know, right?
Ay, putik!
Anong brush
Ano?
ulit?
Ang ginamit ko yung cover nung
Kaya pala hirap po kayo.
Kaya pala nagbabackling.
Yeah.
Hmm.
When it buckles so much, Kasi alam ko hindi po, it
Cover
should
lang
not,
yun yung
Bangge, nung tinanggal mo yung unang paper sa babaw, di ba merong, yung second is,
Oo.
Magaspang?
Yung second, yung magaspang dapat ginamit.
makapal.
ano
Yeah.
dapat
Yung ginamit mo is the one on top?
Oo.
Yeah,
yeah,
yung
the
cover.
one with the, mhm.
Cover.
Cover pa lang po yan, cover lang.
Tanggalin mo yan, mother. Tanggalin mo pala.
Okay.
Kaya pala sabi ko, bakit balubaluktot?
Okay, so dito tayo sa sa may texture.
Magaspang.
Yes,
oo.
yes po.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so I will discuss another one that's also related to the tones of watercolor. First, I wet this paper, nag-dilute muna ako ng paint, light wash. Kung makita nyo, there's a lot of water. And then I will cover this one entirely with light color.
Nakuha mo, mother. Natanggal mo.
Ito tinatanggal ko. Talaga bang makapal? Or
Yeah, makapal.
Then yung angular brush.
Makapal ang mukha ko.
Yes po, this is the angular brush.
Yung kaninang gamit mo, Sir Eman, ano yun?
Brown brush po.
Monster, bagay yung hikaw to. Oh. Ang ganda.
Yeah. Sinuot ko na nga kanina eh.
Ang ganda.
ang alin?
Ito,
Yung
mother.
ano?
Yung
Yung
leaf?
leaf.
This is what you call wash application of paint.
Wash.
Handa-handa lang po, yes.
Question.
Yes
Again.
po.
Pwede bang mag-mix ng watercolor acrylic?
In the paper or on the palette po? Ito
Paper.
naman po, it's called mixed media. You can, but you have to mix them after the one is dry. Halimbawa, acrylic. Acrylic will not blend with watercolor when it is dry. So it's actually the best way to do with sometimes yung mga parang highlights with the paint.
Okay. Si Monster kaya. Sir, hindi nakikinig. Oh.
Okay lang po.
Gago.
Panoorin nyo na lang po muna. So ito lang naman po kasi medyo alam ko matagal po yun. So yun yung flat, this is what you call the flat wash. So you can see, isa lang yung tone niya. It's just one tone of all over the paint, the paper. So I will dry it with the hair dryer to speed up the drying process.
Mother, bili mo ako hair dryer.
This is what you call wash application. Yung parang flat wash.
Regalo ko sa iyo sa Pasko.
Sure. Ano, ito bang ginamit mo, Bangge?
Alin? Ay, hindi. Old brush ko yung ginamit. You can use that. Yung ginagamit niya, yung bilog. Yeah, you can use the...
Ito
Yung
yung,
gagahin mo ba siya ngayon? Yung angular.
yung series 118. Hindi, yung bilog lang kanina.
Yung kanina, yung bilog. Ang gagawin mo?
Oo.
Oh, yung ito rin. Yeah.
118?
118?
Ano nga ba?
Ay, pabasa.
Number 8?
Yung 193 pesos.
Ito 118. Parang ito, ganito yung brush ni Sir eh.
Oo, yung number 8 na 118 yata, Mother.
Ayun yon. Okay.
I think, oo, the
Nag-mix
round
na,
brush.
nag-mix na kayo ng watercolor?
Yeah, I use the old watercolor. Ito muna yung ginagamit ko. So,
Takot pa ako buksan eh.
Mage dito?
Yeah, hindi ko pa binubuksan.
Binuksan ko na.
ano ba?
Ba't di nyo pa buksan?
Oo nga.
Nanuluto na
natin.
ako.
Pwede naman po, try nyo yung gamitin.
Yes, sir. Paano ba gamitin tong palette? Ay, ayan.
Yan.
Ayan no, ano ba dapat dito sa malaking space? Ano yung...
Sis, nawawala.
So, dun sa wells po, please put the lighter colors from left to right. So, you can start with yellow, then you can orange, red, violet, blue, and then yung mga earth colors natin like burnt umber, yellow ochre on the rightmost. Just po, if you have po.
So yung mga light colors on the left, tapos yung medyo dark sa right.
Yes po. As you move along, so you can start with yellow. Important din po that you remember which colors you put. So most of the time, yung ibang nag-start, they put a label next to the well kung ano po yung color na nandun.
Ah, I see.
And then yung space sa gitna, what is that for? Itong gitna, na dalawa.
For that's the mixing area po for the paint. For example, you want to mix paints like what I'm doing right now in my palette here. So you have actually a bigger mixing area.
Okay. So,
So
yung water,
naka-separate.
ang water naka-separate, coach? Ay, sir?
You have a separate well for example yung parang bucket natin na malaki. You can use a simple
Glass
jar or you can use yung parang mga glass.
Or
Mga
ito,
jar.
Pwedeng baso lang?
Yes, pwedeng
pwedeng
baso
baso.
lang po, yes.
I use this, mother.
Mhm.
Parang mason jar. Para madaling.
Oo nga. Teka, hahanap ako niya na. Maghalong kat ako sandali sa ano ko.
baka bumili kami sa Paris niya.
Sandali ako sa sa laundry.
Hanapin ako ni Mother sa Paris ng baso na yan.
Alam mo, Mi, kung saan ko pa nabili to, dati pa. Sa Shoppersville.
Nakakamiss ang shoppers din.
Miss. Taga saan ka, Sir Eman?
Batangas po. I am here in Batangas, Lipa City.
I'm from Tanawan.
Lapit lang po 'yun.
Yeah.
From here.
Kilala ko sa Lipa, sa Malarayat.
Oh,
Sila
I see.
Recto, sila Midge, si ano yun? Kaklase ni Miguel. Hindi si... Ay, hindi pala. Kaibigan ni Elia kasi. Barkada sila Miguel.
Vince?
Si Vince,
Vince Recto.
Yeah.
Sir Eman, kapatid ni Mayor yan eh. Ano na pala?
Oo.
Di mo ba nakikita kamukha?
Hindi ko pa na-focus ang style mo ka.
Ayun
Kanta ko.
Hmm.
Bobby. Why?
Lipa City ka ba, Sir Eman? Lipa
Yes,
ka?
Lipa City po.
Diyan ba yung mga berberabe? Or...
I'm not exactly sure po pero I heard about that name, yung mga apelyido po. Pero hindi ko lang po alam ko ng mga exact lugar kung saan po sila sa Lipa.
Sir Eman, para saan nga to?
Flat brush, you can use po for wide application of paint. Yung mga malalaking brush. So if you have a big brush like this, instead of using a flat brush that I used a while ago na ito kaliit, you can use the big one para mabilis yung cover ng paint.
Okay.
Yung pala mother pang washing, pang background.
Siyempre, ang titigas pa ng brushes namin, Sir Eman. So,
Oo nga
Okay lang po yan.
Kailangan mabasahin, ano?
Sir Eman, meron ako nung yung canson.
Na paper po.
Pwede ba for practice muna to?
Yes, pwede naman po yun. But for yung ating mga serious application, I would suggest to try yung bawang kasi mas madali po siyang gamitin sa wet into wet painting and also yung washes like this one. So if you're already done with this example, I will proceed to the next step. I will just have to show you what you can achieve by successively layering paint. So I will mix again paint here in my well. This one is dry.
Sino pala ikat itong kapal?
Mon, may ginagawa ka na.
Wala, kumakain yan, hindi nga nakikita.
Okay, so this time, I will not paint the top one. I will start here.
Ako, ang kapal nitong nagawa ko. Oh my God.
Tama kapal, hindi mo na pwede ma-correct, Sir Emma.
Pwede naman po, you can lift it with a moist brush.
Can I use my old brush? Ay! Nahulog. Second layer na yan, ano, sir?
Yes po.
Kalimutan ko na yung ginamit ko kaninang color. Eh, di ba basahin mo na yung paper? Okay lang ba yun when you spray? Ay, po.
Mother, bili mo akong ano,
No,
yung hair dryer.
dryer yan. Dyson,
Pasko, yun ang regalo ko sa'yo.
gusto mo Dyson?
Wow.
Wala kang
30,000.
Mother, Dyson na ano, vacuum.
I know,
Yung
right?
robot.
So makikita po ninyo after the second layer, significantly mas dark na siya kumpara dun sa una nating wash. Because nagpatong na yung paints from the first layer to the second one. So on the next one, I will further add another wash, but I will not paint on this side anymore, but just on this side. So I will add another water again, paint, same diffusion.
Di pantay-pantay yung paint ko eh.
Ako rin.
Mother, ikaw din? Ginagawa mo na ba?
Nagagawa
Patingin
lang.
nga. Ako hindi pantay-pantay eh. Oh. Parang hindi ka tulad kay Sir Eman.
Ay, hindi ko nga ginagawa yung kamukha kay Sir Eman eh. Nag-ano lang ako sa shade lang. Oo, patay.
So makita po ninyo, we have 3 tones ng variation. And finally, I will just paint this side, just this side. This is how what you call the layering of or washes, the glazing. Pagpapatong natin ng kulay. So, finally, this side. So you can see, meron tayong iba't ibang tones. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So iba-iba yung ating tone na merong makikita. And that is also same thing with what you see here. So yung shading niya, yung sa scale, you can finally divide it, yung differences niya sa pagle-layer ng ating paint or color. So the glazing is one of the methods that you can employ to achieve differences din sa ating tones and shades. So what is the application of this one? It's actually very useful if you're trying to paint yung mga things like object. For example, let's paint here a cube. Let's draw. You can actually start with a lighter color first.
I'm sorry.
So kung if you take a good look at this one, after yung same method of application this one, for example, in this cube, parang yung effect niya, the top portion actually shows yung parang yung light coming from this side. And then the variation yung tones, yun yung ating mga shadow. Like this one, ito yung side na facing away from the light. So you have a dark, mas madilim yung back natin. Kumpara dun sa ating point which is facing the light source. So by varying yung ating yung washes, by layering it side by side, we also achieve the same effect on tones, variation of tones, and also get the same thing with here. So as another example, that's the same thing with the drawing of
Sir Eman, ano number yung pencil na gamit mo?
this one is 6B po, 6B pencil.
Yeah, makapal yan eh.
The lower the number ba, the lighter? Ganun ba yun?
Yes po, sa mga B pencil, yun po yung softness of the pencil lead that you have with you. So makita nyo, they have the same effect. So watercolor, you have to use yung ating layers of paint. You will also achieve the same thing. Now, the reason I'm suggesting to try bow home is because if you try yung mga canson papers, madulas siya compared sa mga cotton-based paper. Yung cotton-based paper, they will allow you to layer paint like this, how you do with this one, to successively lay down colors on top of one another na hindi natitingkab or nalilift out yung paint sa ilalim nila. That's why I really suggest to try yung mga cotton-based paper like Bauhome. They are good for this kind of technique of layering colors. Cellulose papers, medyo madulas po siya.
Got it.
So do you have a question po? I'll allow you to try it out first, the thing that I suggested, before we proceed with the actual or with the subject, a particular subject. So can you have a good grasp on how this one works, how this one behaves with the paper. So hopefully, hindi naman po naging masyadong mahirap yung about this one when it comes to this one. You can try yung ating mga angled brushes. Don't worry po. Especially with the squares. Madali po talagang gamitin yung mga angled brushes na may flat profile when you're making geometric shapes like cube, squares, rectangles po. Important po talaga is you have for your paper to have the tonal values necessary.
Mother, nano-nosebleed na ako.
Lalo naman ako,
Concentrate.
Lord.
Sige lang po.
Ganyan talaga pagka hindi kayo laking...
I'll
Yeah.
close the recording for now so that we can resume later on yung ating next part. So I can allow you to practice first para hindi po kayo mahuli masyado.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you. So this is our next part po ng ating class. So let me spotlight this one. Okay. Medyo tumaas pala yung aking table.
Kung kailangan ng masking tape.
Yes, para ma-attach po yung mga paper natin. For example, like this one, I'm using the back of the other one, yung aking ginawa kanina for this.
Po, sir.
Yes po,
Pwede
ano po yun?
Oo, para hindi sayang.
Pwede naman po, for the exercises, yes.
Ito lang yung ginawa ko, sir. Ang pangit.
Sige nga po, pati nga po. Yung layer po ng color, yeah. Pwede naman dagdagan yan. Sa tama naman yan, makakuha niyo yung tone value by adding more color on top of one another. So yan, this
Okay.
naman po niyo yung concept.
So, dagdagan ko pa yung color, sir.
Pwede po, pwede pa. Actually, pwede niyo pa pang madagdagan to if you want. You can even add more grids.
Nag-iyosin muna ako. Na-stress.
Na-tense ka. Sir Eman, ilang taong ka na? But you sound bata pa.
31 po.
Naku, pareho pala tayo. Pareho pala tayo.
Kasing edad na ng mga anak namin, oh my God.
Oo nga.
Ay, anak ko pala, anak ko.
Malapit na rin yung mga anak
Si
na.
Marina, no?
30 na,
Marina.
oo nga.
Marina 28.
Dito ba si Marina?
Nandito na.
Nandito
Nandito
na.
na.
Na-quarantine pa siya?
4 days.
Because?
Ang bilis dumating eh. Ang bilis dumating ng results.
Ay, nice. Pero di ba ang PCR monster galing sa government?
Yeah, sa government. Sila naglabas. Sabi the next day daw. Pero same day lumabas eh. So sabi ni Kapitana, pwede na siya umuwi.
Wow, ang galing naman.
But since I booked sa Agoda, yung 10 days, kaya kailangan ko pa magsulat ng letter. To refund naman kasi binook namin 10 days eh.
Oo naman.
Dito Airbnb?
Dito, Agoda. Oh.
Saan siya nag-book?
Oo.
Exchange Regency.
Oo, sayang naman yung refund, monster.
I know. Sana.
You think they'd allow it, yung refund?
Maybe. Kaya pag kayo, wag na kayo sa Agoda, doon na lang sa hotel because the hotel will refund daw.
Will refund, oo, tama.
Mm-mm.
Better hotel na lang.
Yep.
Asa si Sir? Andiyan ba si Eman? Sir Eman?
Yes,
Ang
parang
ingay nyo kasi.
kaya inaano ko lang po, sharp lang po ka ng
Okay.
For example, yung line na ganito, you don't want the pencil. Mabubura ba yung pencil?
Pag nakulayan na po ninyo, hindi na po siya mabubura kasi yung paint natin underneath, yung parang ano na siya, mag-fix na rin siya kasama po ng paper eh.
Oh.
So, pwede nyo po siyang i-lighten before you start painting para hindi po kayo
Para hindi nakitang-kita.
Hindi
Dapat
po kayo
light lang. Oo.
Kasi sa acrylic, you can cover it, di ba?
Opo.
Ito, hindi pala.
Mangge, pakita mo kay Sir Eman yung gawa mo.
Huwag na, para ma-elementary yung gawa ko kukumpara nito.
Hindi ang ganda-ganda ng mga paintings din niya.
Oo nga. Pakita ko kay Sir Eman yung watercolor ng mother-in-law.
Sige po. Okay lang po.
Saan ba yun? Pero nakaharang yung gym ng anak ko. Hindi ko nakakita. Ito, this is Chinese. Nakaharang lang. Chinese painting ng mother-in-law ko.
Galing, no? So intricate eh, no?
Oo nga po.
Intricate niyan. Tsaka rolyo-rolyo bumili ng ng paper mother-in-law ko.
Talaga? Did she ever
Yeah, kasi,
sell? Nag-sell ba siya, Banggit, before?
oo, nakatatlong exhibit siya eh.
Wow!
with madarang.
Naman.
And, di ba, dyan sa lahat ng proceeds sa Pentecost pumunta.
Oo nga.
Oh, wow.
Diba?
Oh, kasi they used to live there, no?
Oh, yan. Puro mga Chinese. May maganda akong gusto eh. Time. Yung waterfall na black and white. Hindi ko lang gusto ko na nasabit. Anong oras na ba? May prayer ako.
Ano ba to?
11:36 na po.
Sir Eman, do I need to light and food?
Tingin po, nasa po? Ay, lighten. Pwede po po yung i-dark. Medyo light pa po siya. Pero maganda naman. Kuha naman po niya yung concept.
Nani?
Professional lang yung si Midge.
So,
Papanggap lang yan, sir. Ito. This is my favorite.
Wait lang po. Wow. Matrabaho yan ah. Maingat yan. Kasi rice paper po yan eh. Hindi po yan kasing tatag ng gamit nating paper. Manipis
Oo
po
nga.
yan.
Ang ganda naman, Bangge.
Oo, ang laki niyan. Actually, si Marty kasi. Meron ako sa taas na hindi. Ito rin, fish. Mother-in-law ko rin.
Koy.
Koi. Ay, nako. Pangawit.
magawa ka rin ng ganyan, sis.
Wet and wet painting po yan. Makukuha niyo rin po natin. Matatakan din po natin yan, yung topic na yan.
Wet on wet, oo.
Opo.
Napapanood ko nga eh. Ito, mother, you like this.
Yeah. But I like the black and white.
Mhm.
Lotus naman siya.
Okay, so kailangan natin.
Gawa tayo isang subject, tapos pare-pareho tayo ng...
Mas-stress naman ako dun.
Hindi, nakakatawa yun dahil paiba-iba tayo ng...
Pangit na. Wala pang ano eh.
Parang gawa nung apo ko ah.
Okay, so dito naman po tayo ngayon sa isa pa. Gagawa pa ako ng isa pang exercise. This time, I'm going to combine naman yung mga parang polygon shapes. Na meron tayo, squares. And then, ito, send ko na rin sa ating chat group para kita po natin. Ano?
Okay.
Ngayon yung aking reference sa chat group po natin. I can also share in the screen. Ito po siya. Yan, this one. So this is for exercise naman ng tonal values. So dadamihan ko na siya, gagawa ko ng iba't ibang squares. Meron tayong parang cone, meron tayong cylinder, cube, and then a sphere. So going back dito sa aking paper, how to start the drawing. First, gaya nung sinabi ko kanina, line muna tayo. So start with a line. So hopefully nakikita po ninyo. And then we have a sphere. Meron tayong cube. Overlap. Okay, so paano natin umpisahan ng ganitong subject? Sa akin, ang unahin ko dito muna ay yung background. So we wet first yung ating yung ating painting background. With a brush. I will use water. I will wet first yung background natin ng paint. For the paint. Water lang muna. Yan. Ilagan ko lang yung ating mga subjects. Itong side na to, this can be kasama to sa background. Can be included. Okay, so we'll start with the light wash background.
Mother, pera naman ang ruler mo.
Oh. Oh my God.
Bakit?
Hirap.
Nakikita yung ruler ko eh.
Tingnan mo naman ginawa ko ruler. Wala kasi akong ruler.
Hiramin ko nga sa... Andiyan si Papa.
Mhm.
Ay, Papa!
Nakikita yung ruler ko, sabi ko. Hindi pa diretso.
Bingi yung square.
Abstract yung ginagawa ng asawa ko eh.
Malamang ko abstract yung lalabas to, Papa.
Sabi ko, mas magaling pang gumawa yung apo ko si Alessi.
Ako din.
Bakit pumasok si...
Sino?
Yeah, kasi meron siyang masking tape so okay lang siya lumampas.
May daya.
Dapat ba ito tape? Oo nga, no?
Pwede ba dito na lang kayo sa bahay gumawa?
Oo nga eh,
Pero
para
sabi ng
maghiraman
pader
kami ng
namin,
gamit eh. Sabi ko
ang
nga,
dami
walang tulad.
Hindi, marami na kasing pader na kailangan pinturahan, no?
Gagi.
Baka pwede naman, para sayang ng labor. Ano yan, inodoro?
Taga Batangas pa si Sir Eman.
Oh,
Basain mo na. Nilagyan mo tape, mother.
hindi eh.
Ako
Kasi
din.
ginagalaw ko eh.
Ako din.
So anong unang step ginawa ni sir?
Binasa ko po muna yung
Drawing
background.
na muna yung mga shapes.
Oo nga,
Tapos,
tapos shapes. Ito.
Tapos lagyan mo tubig yung yung labas. Yung labas ng mga shapes.
para
Yung
madali po yung blending ng kulay.
Naku, teka, bagong tubig dapat. Kasi meron ng halo ito.
Tsaka dapat Wilkins, mother. Ah.
Oo nga, dapat distilled.
Distilled. Ah.
Max.
Asa na ilaw mo, Sir Eman, sa kaliwa, no?
Apa, from the left side, coming from the left
Left
side.
side. Is the same color mo yung mga shapes?
Yes po. Same colors
parang
lang po.
For the shading lang, ano?
Opo.
Anong color ang gagamitin ko? So the lightness and the darkness will depend on your water. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
Sir Emma, na-appreciate mo ba yung abstract?
Opo, may mga nagugusto naman po akong abstract talaga. May magaganda po talagang abstract.
Kanya-kanya interpretation ng abstract. How do you teach abstract?
Depende pa paano style ng abstract. May mga abstract po kasi yung method ng application na tiniteach nila, like pouring. Yun po yung mga kinakailangan ng mga pouring medium.
Sige, so compliant na tayo. Okay, compliant na tayo, dapat siguro i-request tayo. Okay, that's what.
Ay, naku, halo.
October 29 na sa Bicol. Kapag ay nabot ng October 29 na, November 4 na yan.
Mababa na yung cases natin sa COVID. Totoo kaya yun? Reliable kaya?
find out the next month. Kasi di ba nagbaba na ng alert level. So,
Nagbaba eh.
sana magtuloy-tuloy kasi
Oo nga eh.
marami ng vaccinated.
Did I tell you na nakadouble na ako?
Oh, talaga? Good.
Kailan ba to? Friday, Wednesday. Moderna.
Sa Soler ka ba?
Hindi, sa Meralco compound. Actually, bawal pa, di ba? Kaya lang, yung friend ko offered. Tatanggi ka pa ba? Eh, kailangan ko.
Hindi, tsaka kasali ka dun
So
sa...
booster na yan? Booster na yan, Bangge?
Actually, sabi nga ng doctor ko, you can't call it booster because different
Third shots.
crossover ka.
Oo. So, 2 shots pa rin ako.
So hindi kailangan na 6 months?
With Sinovac, pwede nang hindi 6 months.
Eh kami Astra, paano?
Pwedeng, mas matagal yata efficacy ng Astra. I don't know, yun ang sabi niya sa akin. Pag Sino yata parang
O si Sino
Oo.
kasi
4
China.
months off. Oo nga eh. Papa, nainip. Gusto sumali, oh.
Actually, Papa, ano yan? Gusto lang yan.
Inggit lang yun.
Oo. Papali ka na. Join us. Bilang kita ng materials. Bigyan mo ako 10,000.
Dito po
Ano
ngayon,
to?
dito naman.
nag-umpisa na kayo sa blue?
Oo.
Oy, wala pa ako doon.
Asan ka na?
Tubig pa lang.
Nagdodraw pa lang.
Ng tubig.
Ako nagdodraw pa lang.
O tinan mo, nagdodraw pa lang eh.
Maniwala ka dyan. Tapos magpapakita yan mamaya.
Sa first lesson, no?
Anong gamit
Magpapakita
yung brush yung malaki? Anong gamit yung brush yung malaki?
Yeah, ako I use my old brush kasi mas gamay ko eh.
Just tingin nga akong tubig na may ice.
Parang malaki yung ginagamit ni Sir Eman.
Pwede niyo pong gamitin kung ano man brush kayo comfortable.
Pero wala kaming ganyan. May ganyan ba tayong kalaki? Wala, no?
Meron.
Bakit kayo may ganyan? Ba't kami wala?
May malaki yung pinadala si Mitch ata eh.
Yan
Meron
yata yung
kanyan.
iba-iba ng
Wala, monster.
order ni Mon.
Meron.
Ito, laki.
Ito lang yung brushes ko. Ay, yung malaking malaki. Patayo.
Yeah.
Ito.
24.
Hindi yan. Hindi
Ito.
yan. Yan.
Yung
Yan.
nakalagay, taclon angle. Ay, taclon angle?
Yeah.
Oh, yan yung ating ginagamit ni Sir.
Advance nyo na. Ano pa lang ako? Lower.
So ginawa ko dun sa spear, binasa ko po muna uli yun para makuha ko yung parang smooth na transition ng paint na yun. Same din po dito gagawin ko sa ating cylinder.
Binasa mo pa yan, Sir, before putting?
Opo, para madali yung flow ng ating paint, para madali siyang i-spread.
Ibang mark pa rin.
Shit, ang dami.
Si Papa ba alis? Mother?
Eh, andyan na, dumating na galing office.
Oh.
Wala siyang site visit ngayon. Tapos na siya 2 days.
Anong lunch nyo?
Wala pa nga eh.
Hindi
Actually,
magluto na siya.
Meron mga pizza dito na mga
Luto na siya. Sabi mo magluto na si Papa. Gutom na kami.
Oo nga.
Ay, shucks, anong oras na? Mag-mute lang ako.
Sige po, okay
Yeah.
lang po.
Oh my God.
We can
Hi,
have a
Jen.
short break po for the lunch. We can have a break po. Then we can resume around 1 po. Okay lang po sa akin.
Wala nga ko yung pagkain eh.
Ako, tapos na ako mag-brush. Nasa lesson 1 pa lang ako. Paano nito? Therapeutic? Dahil ng ano?
Stress nga ako eh.
Bakit ang smooth ng ginagawa niyong color? Bakit nagla-line siya? Alam mo yon, sir? Yung
Yes po,
ganito. Hindi
Okay
siya
nga po.
smooth eh. Parang nagkakaroon ng edges eh.
Asa bangge? Tingnan.
Yung gusto ko yung ganun isang line, nagkaka-edges, yung
Anong paggamit yung paper dyan?
yung satin.
Yung bawang po?
Oo.
Yung baka ang paper po kasi, ang paint po kasi na ginamit is may grain, may nagagranulate po siya. Kapag meron po kayong malaking paper, usually mas maganda gumamit na mas malaki din pong brush para yung stroke niya clean. So halimbawa, meron po kayong ganyan, ganito po ang gawin nyo. Kung meron kayong parang flat na brush siya ganito, hindi pa tuyo yung paint, pwede nyo po gamitin yung malaking flat na brush para mag-equal siya, mag-even out.
Mag-even.
Habang basa pa po siya.
Oo nga, ang galing.
Pag tuyo po siya, tuyo nyo po siya gagamitin, hindi nyo po siya gagamitin basa. Nakita nyo po?
Oo, ito. I use my Oo nga, correct.
Okay, so dito naman, ito na tutuloy ko, lalagyan ko siya ng shade.
Talagang one color lang ginagamit mo sa shapes, sir?
Yes
Or
po, isang
can we
kulay lang
use
po.
different color?
You can use different color if you want po. Ito po kasi nito ko muna is yung basic ng tones natin para lumabas yung shade niya. Ang
Also, it's
pinaka-important,
better to use one color muna.
sa tones po kasi kailangan mapalabas natin yung shading. Ay hindi
Okay.
po natin masyadong kailangan lang natin makakuha yung concept niya.
Sige, sige.
So ito, susundan ko pa ulit siya ng shading for this side. Ito siguro sa kanya yung round brush.
Ay.
And then dito naman tayo sa cones. So, basahin ko ulit siya. So ito, dadagdagan ko pa siya ng contrast sa side ng cones, sphere, pati itong ating cube. So on natin, babasahin ko ulit siya. So dito rin sa sphere, basahin ko muna siya. Kaya sa dry brush like this para maayusin yung flow ng paint niya. Feather out siya.
That's a dry brush.
Yeah, tuyo po siya, tuyo. Maganda kung soft natural hair magagamit nyo. Yung flat na haki na binili nyo na malaki malapad, pwede nyo pong gamitin yon. Ito po yung meron po kayo. Resin mo siya ito. Yan.
Yeah.
Para maayos yung flow ng paint niya, para maggalaw nyo kung saan direction, para mag-smooth out siya. So, parang makeup application din lang. Habang basa pa siya yung paint. So this side, dadagdagan ko rin siya gamit yung aking round brush. Karoon pa ng mas malalim na contrast. Yan. So ito na, last part. Ito namang ating cylinder. Babasahin ko yung side niya dito. So lalagyan ko siya. I will load more color. Para makuha yung shading niya. Pwede kong gamitan ng hair dryer para matulungan siya. And then, paano natin gagawin yung parang mga shadow niya sa ilalim nito, mga shapes natin. So, paano kung binasa yung background, same lang din siya dito. So, kalahati lang ng ating papel sa ilalim ng aking babasahin. Yan ko muna ng tubig. Yan. Ilagan ko ulit yung aking mga shapes. And then, using yung aking moist brush din, konting paint, isang stroke palabas ng gano'n. Same side.
Isa? Salamat.
This one, ito naman sa side na to.
Ay, nawala yung tubig.
And yung dry na brush ko ulit. Maayos yung spread ng pages. Kasi medyo madaling ito yung yan. Tayo lang natin siya matuyo pa to. Or you can use hair dryer again. So that's another way yung paano nyo dadagdagan niya ng shadow sa ilalim for the final part ng ating painting. Pwede nyo pa itong dagdagan after natuyo siya para magdagdag pa yung boost ng contrast ng shadow. So pwede ulit natin yung basain para madagdagan yung tones. As long as it is dry na yung paper underneath it, hindi na ulit siya ma-activate ulit, hindi na siya magagalaw ulit. So siguro dito muna sa side na to, pwede ko pa siyang dagdagan konti pa.
Pero bawasan, pwede?
Pwede din po, pero kailangan kiskisin nyo siya na maigi ng brush nyo para mag-lighten up, ma-pick up uli yung paint. Para ma-reactivate uli yung paint natin. Yan po yung secret na technique para makuha nyo yung mga gradient natin na malinis. Mga tones niya. So make sure lang talaga enough yung wetness ng paper natin. Para hindi agad siya matuyo.
Go ahead. Ay, sorry.
Tapos pwede ulit natin siyang dagdagan. Dapat hindi masyadong matubig para hindi masyadong kumalat. Kailangan mas konti yung tubig mo. Yung picture niya. Oh, yan. Pwede natin ayusin yung here dito.
Sa shadow, kailangan same color po.
Kung monochromatic po, yes. Yung ginawa niyo. Usually naman kung ano yung color ng background, yun naman po siya yung shadow niya. Parang black lang naman siya.
Nasa shadow ka na, Bangge. Oh my God.
Ha? Asan na kayo? Tingnan mo.
Ang pangit. Oh my God. Ang ganda na kay Bangge.
Hindi pa.
Wala pa akong nasisimulan.
Sa shadow.
What do you mean? Monster, pakita nga. Tingnan mo naman yung trabaho ko. Oh my God. So
Ganda yan.
So ugly. Hindi ko makuha yung yung nadadarken yung ibang parts. Oh my God.
Oo nga eh.
Ano pong paano? Hindi niyo po makuha. Tingin nga po.
Ang hirap puro parehong shade.
Oo nga eh. Yung parehong
Kailangan
shade.
basahin niyo po muna yung isang side. Tapos pag maglo-load po kayo ng color, doon po muna kayo sa side na may basa. Para pag nag-spread po siya dito, smooth siya. So, babasahin niyo muna yung square. Kung baga dito sa side, dito kayo maglo-load ng paint. Para yung movement ng paint nakalat, kailangan basa po muna siya. And make sure tuyo po siya para hindi po nare-reactivate uli yung paint. Hindi uli siya nakakalas sa papel. Kasi pag tuyo na siya, hindi na siya ganong nababasa uli na nare-reactivate. Kasi nag-firmly nag-attach na yung paint na yon dun sa paper.
Oo. Yan ang hirap, no?
And yun po gamitin yung kung may natural hairbrush kayo na sable, yun po yung magandang pang-layer kasi malambot po siya. Hindi niya masyadong kinikis-kis uli yung papel para matanggal yung paint. Pag gusto niyo namang i-lift siya, maganda po. Synthetic yung gamitin niyo.
Pagka synthetic, pagka gusto mong
Opo, kasi matigas po yung synthetic. May resistance sa paper. Madali siyang mabubunot yung kulay. Kaya ang recommend ko po talaga sa watercolor, yung mga sable kasi malambot po siya.
Ay, dobat ako. Pero pwede mo patungan ng white pag nagkamali, no?
Depende po pag white kasi ang nangyayari kadalasan hindi po siya yung same whiteness ng paper eh. Pero pwede naman siyang pang remedy.
Ay, ang hirap. Ito isa.
Monster? Siguro ang ganda na ng gawa mo. Ba't nakatahimik?
Oo, ganyan yan eh. Pag tahimik yan, magandang gawa niya. Madaya yan eh.
Hindi ko nga magawa eh.
Tingin!
No.
Mitch, ikaw?
Dapat ako nasisimulan.
Dapat to, mother, meron tayong wine eh. Para naiengganyo tayo sa aga-aga naka-wine.
Shit.
Gosh, pangit ako.
Hindi ko pa siguro dagdagan to ng konti.
You should really start with very light color, no? Pag ang hirap na
Yes po, tama kayo. Kaya recommended ko start lighter po.
mas madali mag-darken.
Mhm.
Yun naman ang
Absolutely.
difference sa acrylic, mas madali mag-lighten.
Kasi paper po kasi yung parang paper, yung stain sa kanya naiiwan na siya afterwards.
Yeah.
Ang homework ko yung ginagawa niyo.
Makain na yung anak ko.
Sino nandyan?
Yung dalawa.
Pwede naman po tayo magkaroon muna ng break if you want.
Yeah.
For lunch. We will resume po tayo ng mga kahit mga 1:15 po. Or 1:30.
What time is it? 12:30? Sige.
Meron bang shape na nangyayari dito? Okay naman. Ang pangit ng bilog ko.
Akin nga, wala nang nakikita.
Monster, ang cute. Patingin. Patingin.
Wala nang nakikita, oh.
Oh, yun ang sinasabing ano, you start with light pala talaga.
Pwede pa po yan ma-contrast. Try niyo pong gumamit ng
ang
mas dark
ganda.
na kulay para makuha yung
Ayun,
contrast.
ayun.
Habulin niyo po siya ng other color para lumalim.
Hindi naman monster, oh.
Ayan. Appear, mother.
Hindi, grabe.
Ay,
Wala,
Mi,
wala.
nasan yung sa'yo, Mi?
Iba yung kibang ko.
Ako
Alam
nagagawa ganyan. Nandun pa ako din.
kung
Pangit niya.
merong experience eh.
Sige po. Pwede niyo bang pakita?
Alin? Lahat? Kunan nga natin picture.
So, good afternoon again. So, sa next part po ng ating lesson, the fourth aspect, again, let's go back, is color. Sa ating color is, so let's spotlight. Ayan, table. So, color is our fourth element in our painting. This is what gives the life sa ating mga painting. Aside from other, yung monochromatic and shading, color presents yung ating visual, hues sa hue ng object or ng ating subject. So we have a magenta, we also have yellow. Isip ko lang yung yellow. Let's zoom out pala, sorry, hindi nakita. So we have a yellow. And we also have a cyan. Sino nga po pala ulit nakapanood na sa inyo ng other recording from the other class?
Kami ni Mon.
Sinilip ko lang.
So yun, this is all about, yung class kong yun, I discussed about the primary colors. So color system po na kasi natin, our primary colors is cyan, magenta, and yellow. So we have a magenta, cyan, and then we have a yellow. So sa printer po kasi, ang system po kasi niyan is CMYK. So let's go to the back of this paper para ma-discuss ko sa inyo yun. Sa atin po kasi, hindi po tayo, kung naalala nyo po or if you've heard before, it was taught na yung ating color system. Meron daw tayong red, yellow, and blue RYB. Pero, hindi na po tayo gumagamit ito, not to be used anymore. Ang reason ko po dyan kasi is hindi po ito ang pinaka-widest range of colors magagawa nyo to mix paints. Ang atin po talaga, I would suggest to start with the CMYK. So ano yung K? Yung K kasi dyan is key color o yung ating neutral. Which is usually yan yung ating black. Yan po yung ginagamit natin for the saturation ng ating paints sa ating mga kulay. So, what is dito? Paano ba yung ating color wheel? Kung i-imagine nyo yung ating color wheel kasi, so, saan ba yung tinagulo? So, pwede nating gumawa tayo ng bilog. Lakihan ko na lang siguro. Kahit medyo maliit lang. Parang quadrant. So, kung nag-aalala nyo pa po yung trigonometry, meron tayong first quadrant, second quadrant, third, yung fourth. Kung bilog yan, let's say this one, like this one. Yan yung bubuo ng ating color wheel. Yan. Sa ating kasing color wheel, let me share to you the image sa ating na maaari natin magamit for this one sa lesson natin. This is not discussed to sa other class. And I'm also thankful na everyone here is din naman, kumbaga mga Pinoy. So I can speak freely Tagalog, Taglish. I'll share first something in your screen. So yan, nakikita po ng bawat isa yung ating color wheel. Yan po yung ating color wheel that is color accurate. Accurate po yung color wheel na yan. Paano natin masasabi na accurate yung color wheel yan? For mixing colors. So yan yung ating color wheel. So kung mapapansin nyo, going back sa ating table, meron tayo ditong yellow. Nandito yung ating parang magenta. And nandito yung ating cyan. Yellow. Magenta. Cyan. So kung mapapansin nyo, para siyang triangle, di ba? So, gawa siguro ko ng bilog dito muna. Tayo dito magenta. Ito muna natin. Meron tayong cyan. Cyan, layo natin ako. Siguro, iko na lang muna yung line. Siguro na-visualize na naman po ninyo yung ating positioning ng ating mga colors. Taas ko pa pala ito ng konti para hindi tayo masyadong balance. Hindi natin dito sa susunod. Let's connect muna yung ating parang line. Yan. Parang triangle yan. So, hindi lang perfectly triangle, pero ganyan yung distribution. So, kung nakita nyo again, going back to our picture, ito siya. Yan. So, ito yung cyan. Nakikita nyo. Ito yung ating magenta, and then ito yung ating yellow. Parang triangle siya. May question po?
Wala.
Kung
Ano yung
mapapansin,
cyan?
oh,
Sayang.
science, C-Y-A-N.
Ah,
Yan. Sige po. Kita na po ng bawat isa, no? So parang ganyan siya, cyan, yellow, and magenta. Okay, para hindi tayo malito and visually, alam ko naman, everyone is looking, kulayan ko muna siya para meron tayong key dun sa ating mga colors. So dito yung ating yellow. Ang reference po natin yung pinakita ko sa inyo yung image na yun kanina. Sa positioning ng mga colors natin. So if you watch the other recordings, this is the same thing din naman po. And then we have a cyan color. So parang ganyan po yung position niya sa color wheel. Yung mga colors in between yan, yan yung ating mga secondary colors. So, pull up ko rin lang yung image again. So sa ating po kasi mga paints, meron tayong tinatawag natin na mga, ito, share ko lang yung aking parang video. Movies. Makita. Yan. Kung mapapansin nyo, ito po kasi yan. And then, ito kasi yung mga parang paints natin na meron tayo. Yan. Yung position niya ng ating mga paints sa color wheel. Ito po yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na mga pigments sa tube na naka-indicate minsan. So for example, meron tayong yellow color. Ano ba yung yellow? Or ito muna, yung cyan, sa cyanin blue. May mga nakalagay po kasi sa ating tubes na color index kung ano yung pangalan niya. For example, if you look closely here, kung nakikita po nyo, may naka-indicate sa tube na parang pigment, nakalagay PB15. Ayun, nakalagay yung pigment, cyanin blue. Nakasulat siya, cyanin blue. So ito yung pangalan ng ating paint na meron ako. Ito siya. Dagdag pa natin. Ayan, para kita nyo, yun talaga yung kulay niya. Paano ito is cyanin. Naba kasi dito eh. Doon na din sa name na yung cyanin blue. Ang nakalagay sa kanyang tube ay yung pigment information, PB15. Dito sa magenta, meron akong color na magenta. Ito siya. Nakalagay Helios, sorry. Ayan, yung aking Helios purple, ito yung aking magenta. Nakalagay PR122. So usually yung ating mga paints like artist grade paints, naka-indicate sa tube niya yung color, yung pigment nung nagbibigay kulay doon sa ating paint. So sa ating yellow, meron akong Hansa yellow. Okay, Hansa yellow. Okay. Sabit lang natin ito. Yan. Separate lang ang maglalagay. Ito siya. Nakalagay din sa tube niya yung kulay. Yan, nakalagay. PY97. Ito yung aking Hansa Yellow. Yung kulay niya. Meron akong color na reference na nag-i-indicate kung saan exact na kulay nakalagay yung ating mga colors dito sa, baga ito yon, share ko ulit, yung parang pigment. So, kung mapapansin nyo yun, yung nakalagay dito, PY97, dito siya, ito yung 122 natin, ayun siya oh. And then ito yung cyan natin, PB15, ayun. Ayun siya. So makikita nyo, yun yung positioning niya dun sa color wheel. Ito yung kanyang pinanggalingan yan, yun yung buong palette na yan, yan siya. So kung i-cut out nyo yung specific shade para doon sa kulay na yun dun siya nakaposition. Yan. So kung papansin nyo sa gitna, parang dark siya, black siya. Tapos dun sa labas, palabas siya, bright yung kulay natin. Yan. Pero pag imagine nyo, parang triangle yan. Meron kang line dito papunta doon and then papunta rito at saka dito sa ating magenta. Parang tatlong triangle. So dito, ganun din. Ganun ginawa ko. Yan, pinakita ko lang sa inyo. Ang color natin, kung nandito yung yellow natin, dito, in between yan, kung mapapansin nyo dun sa ating color wheel, nandito yung ating red-orange na kulay. Red-orange. Tapos, meron tayo ditong red. Tapos, meron tayong yellow-orange dito. Dito, meron tayong blue-violet. Dito, meron tayong violet. Tapos, nandito yung blue. Tinatawag nilang blue. Parang yan lang yung line natin ha. Dito, nandito yung green. Yellow, green. Hindi, kung masyadong malapit. Dito na. And then, meron din tayo dito ng green-blue. Ngayon, para hindi tayo malito sa sinasabi kong green-blue at blue-green, ganito po, sinong nakakaalam ng pagkakaiba? Tanong ko po muna, sinong nakakaalam ng pagkakaiba ng blue-green sa green-blue? Parang trick question siya. Blue-green at green-blue.
Guess lang.
Sige po.
Blue-green, mas marami yung blue? Or green-blue, mas marami yung green? I don't know.
Ganito po.
Dominant. Dominant.
Parang tama po yung sagot nyo, pero baliktad. Pag sinabi nating blue-green, yung pangalawang word po yung pakinggan nyo, yun po yung dominant color niya. Shade. Ibig sabihin ng blue-green, green color siya na medyo blue ang tint niya. So ang blue-green ay mas malapit sa green kumpara sa blue. Pag sinabing green-blue, mas dominant yung blue color niya kaysa dun sa green. So yun po yung kanyang parang modifier. Kumbaga kung naalala niyo po sa English class natin, yung may mga modifiers, adjectives, minumodify niya yung word before it. Parang kagaya ng word na spectacular performance. Describe something about the performance. Parang ganun po siya. Yun yung unang ibig sabihin ng word. Blue-green, it's a blue kind of green. So may blue siya. Ganun din po sa red-orange, orange-red, yellow-orange, orange-yellow. Ganun po siya. So kung parang ito, parang cut lesson na siya. So para madaling maintindihan nyo pag sinabing blue-green, yun, mayroon na kayong visualization in your mind kung ano yung shade na mas malapit sa kanya. Para hindi po nagkakalituhan. Ano po? So, sana na po niyo yun, naintindihan niyo po or find that one out para alam niyo na i-distinguish yung ating mga colors. Ano po? Pag sinabing blue, green, green, blue. Pinagkaiba ng dalawa. Sige po. So, dito sa ating color wheel, yung napansin nyo kanina, yung gitna niya is black or dark. Kasi yun yung achromatic point ng ating mixture. So, para maintindihan natin mabuti, mag-mix muna tayo ng kulay para makita nyo kung ano yung ibig sabihin. So, kung inisip ko muna pa yung palette ko, wala siyang. Ito kasi yung ginamit ko sa nakarang lesson, pinakita ko yung mixture nila. So yung isang yun, hindi ko pala na-discuss dun sa kabilang class. Wala sa AP pa ko. Yung about sa difference sa blue-green, green-blue, yellow-green, green-yellow. Ganun. So yung cyan, yung po yung tinatawag natin na green-blue. Malapit siya sa green-blue dito yon. Konting-konti na lang. Meron parang slight. Kaya yung cyan, yun yung distinguishing property niya sa blue. Tuturo ko lang po muna sa inyo yung basic mixing principles natin. Isip muna natin yung ating mga mixture. Para po doon sa mga hindi pa nakapanood. So, dito sa gitna, ang pag nag-mix tayo ng equal proportion ng yellow natin, sagdagan natin ng konting magenta. Makakuha kayo ng ating tatawag nating red-orange na kulay. So, pwede natin siyang lista from yellow. So, yan ang ating red-orange. Kapag naman lamang ng konti yung yellow natin, ang kulay natin dyan, orange, yellow tayo. Ganyan. Tapos, kung lamang naman ng konti yung magenta, yan na yung ating mixture na red. So, kung makikita nyo, we can actually mix red from magenta and yellow. Sana nakita nyo po yung difference. Zoom in natin para mas kita nyo yung kulay. Sorry. Yan. So, makikita nyo, ito yung ating tinatawag natin na red-orange. So, again, ibig sabihin ng color na to, dominant sa kanya yung orange color na may reddish tint siya. This is red. And this is yellow-orange. So in between yan, meron tayong dito, yung exact mixture natin. Meron tayo dito na ilalabas dito yung orange. At further, meron din tayong orange-yellow. So doon sa space na in between ito, marami ka talagang makukuhang mga iba't iba pang shade. Meron pa siyang lalabas sa mga quaternary na gano'n. By ano na lang to? By a slight approximation or ano na lang, slight changes pa ng tint natin makukuha mo yung mga kulay na yun. Try natin i-mix yung ating orange. Tapos, pag lamang na lamang yung ating yellow, orange yellow. Makita nyo marami siyang space. Meron pa yan dito. Meron na tayong tinatawag dito na deep red. O yung crimson. So yan, makikita nyo marami tayong variation na from yellow to magenta. Ang dami agad changes, di ba po? Maraming hue, maraming kulay. So again, ito yung ating primary. Ito yung ating secondary, tertiary, and then marami siyang in-between colors. Quaternary. Ang next naman yan, na kulay natin na mamimix, is from magenta, yung cyan. So let's try mixing muna yun. Huwag muna ako dito ng cyan. Ng magenta. Yan. Kung mapapansin nyo, ito yung ating blue-violet color. Sometimes this is what they refer to. Lakihan natin para kita natin ang ayos. Ito yung tinatawag natin na ito yung ating blue-violet. So, ang ating primary shade talaga dyan is violet. And then, kung dadagdagan mo pa ng konting magenta, dadagdagan mo pa ng konting magenta, ito na yung talagang violet na kulay natin. Magenta is actually, ito na yung ating red-violet. So ito, kapag dinagdagan mo pa to ng konting cyan, magiging na siyang color blue. Almost blue na yung kulay niya. Tingnan niyo yung mix natin. Yun na. Dagdagan natin ng tubig. Di ba? Yun yung ating shade, blue-violet. Blue. Dito naman, so let's mix yung ating yellow. And then, konting cyan. Makita mo, meron ka na ng green. And kung dadagdagan mo ng mas maraming yellow, syempre, meron kang yellow-green. Kung lamang pa ng konti yung yellow, meron kang green-yellow. Dito naman, mas malapit, mas maraming blue. Sayang. Yan yung kulay niya. Kita natin. So meron tayong green-yellow, yellow-green. And then meron tayong green-yellow. Kasi ito ang ating blue-green. Yan yung ating mga colors. So ito yung ating secondary. green, red orange, blue violet, and then yung ating mga in-betweens yan ng ating mga tertiary colors. Makukuha nyo by varying lang yung proportion ng ating mixture. Now, yung sa gitna, it's actually, yan yung interesting part ng ating mix. So, for example, if you mix all the colors, ito na yun ha, lagyan natin dito. Ako pa check na. Yan. Tapos, i-tune nyo lang yung color nyo, yung mixture nyo, para makuha yung right proportion ng mga paint mixtures. Makakapag-mix kayo actually ng ating key color, which is yung ating black. Yan. Kung mapapansin nyo, yan yung ating desaturated na kulay na. So, ito na yung ating key color, o yung ating neutral, yung black. Anywhere from yung black, ito yung exact proportion nila para makuha yung neutral color. For example, meron tayong line going sa ating red orange, papunta sa ating red. Meron pa yan dito. Meron din dito. May iba pang shade yan sa orange, proportion. Ayusin ko na lang. Dito ko na lang siya lagyan ng bilo. Yung tint ng ating color, mas dumidilim siya. So, halimbawa, meron tayo kaninang red. Lagyan natin ng mixture natin ng gray kanina. Makakakuha ka ngayon ng maroon. Kung medyo orange siya, isip ko na lang muna itong palette ko. Since na-mix ko na lahat ng kulay. Taga ko lang uli siya. So yung ating red-orange, mixture siya ng ating yellow. Pag dinagdagan nyo siya ng neutral, yung gray, anong color siya? Earth color siya. Para siyang sienna. Ganon din yan. If you add more yellow, mag-shift naman yung color niya sa parang ochre. Yung orange, ano yan? Yan yung mga skin tone like yung ating mga tan. So, makikita nyo, yun yung mga earth colors natin from red. Meron kayong sienna, meron kayong maroon. Medyo mahirap isulat dito, mamaya ko na isulat. Doon naman sa ating blue, maliit yung mixing area ko eh. So, ito. Pag dinagdagan nyo siya ng black, mapapansin nyo ito na yung kulay niya. Parang yung indigo, di ba? Ito na yung tinatawag dyan, yung deep purple na yung sunod dyan. Tapos yung dull din na red violet. Doon sa green natin, yung ating sap green. At yung ating mga green na ano. Dito yung tinatawag nating olive.
Kailangan kami gumawa ng ganyan, hindi naman.
Hindi naman po. Pinapakita ko lang po yung mga mixture natin.
Good. Alam
Alam ko po, mahirapan po kayong mag-mix ito kasi
parang gumagawa eh, ang daya.
mahirapan po kayong mag-mix ito kung ang gamit nyo po kasi hindi po yung exact colors na meron ako, yung pinakita ko po sa inyo. Kasi iba-iba po yung shade ng mga kulay eh. Kasi yung
Tapos,
tubes
sir,
po natin, iba-iba po yung nakalagay na colors. Yung nakalagay minsan na ibang pigment. So ibang shade po ang makukuha yung mixture. So ganyan po siya gumagana. Ibig sabihin, yung any color inside yung parang triangle na to, mamimix ko siya. Going back dun sa akin pinakitang example po, ito. Yan, kung mapapansin nyo, may mga kulay tayo, like this one, yung raw, amber, mga earth. Mamimix nyo siya gamit yung limited palette na yun. May mga colors kayo na meron kayo niyan. Any color na nasa loob niyan, makukuha nyo po yung mixture na yon. Yan po yung tinatawag natin na possible natin na color mixing range. So same po yan dito sa meron ako sa aking table. Yung tatlong yon, limited nga lang, pero makukuha nyo yung ating almost all potential use ng kulay. Hindi nga lang po bright, hindi nga lang siya sobrang bright kasi may mga kulay tayo na hindi na siya hindi na siya magiging bright kasi hanggang doon lang yung scope ng line natin. Hindi siya, kung gusto nyo expand yung green, pwede kayong bumili ng mas bright na kind of green dito. Ibig sabihin, may mga mixture kayo na makukuha na mas bright. So, meron kayong mabibiling mas matingkad na red orange or orange, may makukuha kayong mga mas brighter mixtures sa ating kulay. Pero yung hue kasi tinatawag natin na color. Yun yung tinatawag nating color na meron tayo. So meron tayong, gaya po na-discuss ko, ang ating mga unicolor, yung yellow, magenta, cyan, meron tayong in between yan, yung orange, red orange, yung yellow orange, red orange, red, tapos yung mga violets and greens. Yun po yung ibig sabihin yan. Pag sinabi po natin saturation, gano'ng ka-bright yung kulay. Yung ating tatawag na yung kung gaano ka-vivid. Yung chroma, yung darkness and lightness ng ating kulay. Yung tatawag natin na chroma. So chroma is yung ating brightness. Yung ating tatawag natin intensity. Yung saturation, yung brightness ng color. So kapag desaturated siya, ibig sabihin wala siyang color yung black. So yung makikita nyo itong ating maroon, parang desaturated red lang siya kasi meron siyang konting black. Same with orange, yung ating earth color na amber, desaturated din siya na orange color. May konting black. So yan po yung ating mga color mixtures na ma-achieve natin with just primary colors if you have yung ating cyan, magenta, at saka yung ating yellow. May question po? Pwede po kayo magtanong about these mixtures of colors.
Sir, yung nabili naming watercolor does not have the coding yung mga PB115 yung ganyan, PR122. They're just labeled as cobalt blue, mga ganon.
Yun po kasi yung artist grade naka-indicate minsan yung pigment na ginagamit nila sa paint, sa tube, kung anong kulay. Pero yung description naman po ng color na meron kayo, you can guess kung anong shade or hue ng kulay niya. Depende po doon sa kung anong dinidescribe sa kanya. So going back, ito, balik po ako sa screen ko. Kung mapapansin nyo, meron siyang mga parang mga names siya, no? Yung nakalagay yung cobalt blue, cyan, kung nasaan siya nakapwesto. Wait lang, pull up ko lang po yung mismong kung saan nyo makikita to para makita nyo yung parang image. Sagot lang po ah. Pull up ko lang mismo. Meron pong mga website kung saan ako naka-reference dito. Ito po yung website. So, ang pangalan ng website is handprint.com. So, kung babalik kayo kung saan siya, ito yung parang preface niya. So, i-click yung color wheel. Kung mapapansin nyo, ito yon. And then, color theory, kukuha nyo yung artist, yung color wheels natin. Ito rin yung dinidiscuss ko sa inyo. So, yung ating color wheel, ito siya. Kung ita-download, i-click ito, mabubuksan nyo siya. Ito yung ating kinalalagyan ng ating mga colors. Medyo magulo lang siya tingnan dahil nandyan yung mga tinatawag natin na mga names ng kulay. So pag sinabi natin cobalt blue, ito yung cobalt blue natin. Ayun nandun siya sa shade na yon. Ibig sabihin, in between siya ng cyan at saka ng blue. Yung ating cobalt blue. So kung may sinabi naman na red, marami tayong iba't ibang shade ng red. Yan, nandito sa side na to. Yan, napakadami nating shade ng red sa orange. Ito yung tinatawag kong yellow-orange na hue. Yan. Ito yung ating perfect na yellow, nasa 90-degree plane. Saka yung ating mga greens, ayan siya. Mapapansin nyo, ito yung mga ibang naming ng mga kulay. Depende sa kung anong meron. kung anong dinidescribe sa kanya. So kung i-imagine nyo pa rin, same pa rin siya ng ating color wheel na dinidescribe natin. So ang cobalt blue natin like that, nandito rin lang yon, shade na yon. Parang in between siya ng cyan saka ng ultramarine blue. Yung ultramarine blue, mas bright lang yun type ng blue. Kaya maganda rin siyang primary color. If you have a cyan, pwede rin siya yung primary na pandagdag. Okay lang po yan. Huwag niyo mo muna masyadong isipin yung about mga nakalagay ng mga pigment info sa tubes ng paint nyo. Let's just enjoy muna yung pagpo-color muna natin na paggamit ng kulay sa ating mga painting dahil yun naman po yung important po sa ngayon as a beginner. Kasi as you go along and become more knowledgeable sa watercolor painting, ma-apply nyo na po yan, ma-appreciate nyo na yung mga tinatawag natin na may mga nakalagay na pigment or color information sa mga tubes ng color. Kasi makakakuha kayo ng mga mixture, masasanay po kayo mag-mix ng kulay. Depende dun sa mga, iba-iba po kasi yung tawag minsan ng mga paint manufacturers, iba't ibang brand sa kulay nila. Pero pag tiningnan nyo yung tube, yung kulay niya, yung nakalagay na color, yung bawat na color pigment info, yun din po yung sa ibang brand. So pwedeng ma-cross-reference yung makakabili kayo ng ibang kulay sa ibang brand. So hindi po problema yung magkakaiba ang name. Ito lang po yung ito po yung focus nyo muna, yung ating mga use ng kulay. So visually, pag tinignan nyo siya, yan yung kanyang mga color mixtures na makukuha nyo. Yung cyan, blue, blue-violet, violet, yung ating red-violet or magenta, green, blue-green, yellow-green, green-yellow. Yan po yung mga ating mga color mixes. May question po? Kayo po kayo magtanong regarding this one. Ito po yung ating fourth part ng ating concept sa painting. So we start nga, yan ang kakulay, ng line, shapes, shading, color. So sa shading, importante na naintindihan natin yung sa watercolor, yung pag-apply ng lightness, ng color, at saka yung tubig para makuha natin yung tones. Lagi nga habulin po natin yung tones kasi yung sunod po dyan, pinaka-importante po yan kasi pwede kayo mag-portrait ng black and white. Bakit yung mga nagcha-charcoal nakukuha yung mga shape ng mga object, yung mga nagagawa ng sketching? Kasi kailangan yung mastery ng tonal values para mapalabas mo yung light and dark parts. Ang next part after nun is yung color na. Pwede na kayong gumamit ng color sa inyong mga painting. At yung mga mixes ng ating color sa ating painting, makukuha nyo yan, applicable yan sa iba't ibang part ng painting. Example, magpe-paint kayo ng dahon, you will be able to paint leaf, pero important pa rin na meron kayong tonal values para mapalabas yung shape ng leaf. Gusto nyo mag-paint ng mga pears, mga lemons, important na makuha nyo yung color, pero yung tones pa rin, yung overall na magdadala para mapalabas nyo yung shape ng object. So, yung tones saka yung color, they both work together para to convey yung image. But more importantly, this one sits above the color para sa ating painting. Mas importante yung tones natin, yung contrast, nandoon kumpara doon sa ating mga colors lang. Kahit pa black and white lang yan, magpinta kayo ng mga grapes, yung mga ubas, saka yung mga iba't ibang objects. Pero kung hindi nyo mapalabas yung dark tones na yung contrast, mahirap pa rin ma-convey yung image, yung drawing sa ating drawing. That's why kanina, I was suggesting po na you start or you paint with a darker tone. May mga kulay tayo na mas dark at mas malalim yung color. Meron din mga blue na mabababaw yung tone ng color. Kaya importante po na isa nga lang alang natin yung mass tone, kung gaano kalalim yung kulay. Kasi yun po yung magdadala ng ating shading ng ating color. Yan, kagaya nito. Paano mo mapapalalim yung mga kulay kagaya nito sa ating drawing. Kasi meron tayong mga 2B pencil, like this one. Ito, 6B siya. Kung mapapansin nyo, malalim yung kanyang shading, di ba? Kumpara nyo sa 2B, meron ako dito, saan ba yun? Ito, 2B lang to. Kahit anong try ko kung palalimin yung kulay ng 2B, hindi siya ganun kalalim kumpara mo sa 6B na pencil. Kasi yung shading niya mas malalim yung tonal values niya. And meron tayong mga color sa color wheel. At talaga mas malalim yung tonal values. Especially when it comes to yung yellow. Yung yellow, very light ang tonal values niyan. Kagaya yan ng HB pencil. So parang pinaka B pencil lang siya. Hindi siya ganun kalalim. So ito siya. Kung mapapansin, may share ulit ako sa inyo doon sa same website. Ito siya. Balik tayo dito. Ito yung color wheel. Meron naman tayo tinatawag na value wheel. So pwede natin tinan yung value wheel. Kung mapapansin nyo, yung pinaka-light colors, yung ating mga yellow, ito nasa top, light siya. Hindi siya ganun kalalim yung tones niya. Yan o. Yung mga orange natin, yellow, orange, hindi ganun kalalim yung tones niya. Yung yan, yung orange, yung orange, ganyan na equivalent niya ng shading sa pencil. Yung red saka green, halos pantay yan. Tapos yung ibang mga colors like purples, crimson, blue, blue-violet, yan na yung malalalim ng shading. Try nyo mag-paint ng spear gamit yung yellow. Sobrang hirap palabasin yung shape ng spear kasi very light lang yung yellow. Hindi lumalabas yung kanya parang hugis dahil yung shading niya mababaw. Pero kapag gumamit kayo ng cyan, madali lang siya palabasin. Dahil mas malalim yung tonal values ng cyan kumpara sa yellow. So tingnan nyo, halimbawa, gawin natin siya sa ganito. Sa isang pencil. Nandito na pala yun eh. So dito ko na lang siguro gawin sa likod nito. Halimbawa, yung spear. Lakayan ko natin ito. Kahit ano karaming shading ang gamitin nyo sa yellow, halimbawa ito, yellow.
Sir, exit muna si Bangge ah.
Sige po, no problem po.
Oo nga.
Diba, hindi siya masyadong halata yung spear natin. Dahil mababaw yung tonal bias siya. Pero try mo kapag yung cyan. Wala yung natin ng tubig ah. Kitang-kita agad yung difference sa dalawa. Kita mo kagad yung form nito kumpara dun sa yellow. Kasi mababaw tingnan nga yung light nito. Hindi siya ganun ka-bright. Ay, hindi siya ganun kalalim yung tonal value niya kumpara dito sa ating cyan na kulay. Kaya sa akin, I suggest talaga na practice mo na yung tones. Though posibleng bright yung kulay nyo, hindi nyo naman may show yung subject o yung form ng subject dahil mababaw yung tonal values natin. This one, pwede mo pa ito mapalalim eh. Dagdagan ko pa ng darker shade. Ito. Mapapansin nyo, malalim, malaki. Malalim yung kanyang shift na kanyang tone. kitang-kita na yung shape niya dahil alalin na kanyang value. Kumpara din sa nasa taas, nababaw lang kasi siya. Hindi mo mapadilim siya ng gusto. So, value or yung tone ang pinaka-important. Sunod dyan yung color. May question po? Mo magtanong.
Yeah, okay na.
Gets. Gets naman, gets.
So sa ating next meeting, gagawa tayo ng mga pagsasamahin na natin. Meron na tayong color and then meron na rin tayong tone. So meron tayong exercise sa ating sunod na
Next Friday.
Opo.
Okay.
Ito yung ating magiging subject next Friday sa ating pwede na rin yung practicing kung gusto niyo po.
Sige.
Send ko sa ating chat. Marami akong samples na pwede nyo pong pag-practicean. Simple
Sir Eman,
case.
paano ulit linisin itong mga brush?
Pwede nyo pong gamitin yung soap, hand soap or pwede, pwede rin yung shampoo kung gusto nyo po. Pag natural hair yung brushes nyo, mas beneficial siya. Kasi buhok po talaga siya eh.
And then yung mga excess namin na paints na hindi nagamit or yung mga nagamit, hugasan lang?
Kung nasa palette po, yung mismong mixing area, yun lang po. Pwede nyo linisin nyo. Wala pong problema. Hanapin ko lang.
Pero otherwise, you can just leave it there?
Yes po, wala pong problema yun.
Hindi maninigas?
Pag tumigas po, pwede naman po siyang tubigan eh. Na-activate naman po yan.
Lang. Okay.
So share ko po sa ating chat yung
Tapos
ating...
magagamit pa rin.
Yes po, magagamit pa rin naman po yan. Ito, yan. Meron tayong mga magiging practice yan. Pwede natin i-practice yan. Yan.
Sir Eman,
Yes po.
yung flat brush, since matigas siya, kailangan basain muna?
Yung flat brush po, yung bubang bagong bilhin niyo kasi parang may glue siya eh. Pag matigas siya, yun yung ginagamit po nila para hindi siya ma-deform. Pwede niyo pong basain ng tubig yun. Soak niyo po muna sa water. Pero wag pong na matagal. Running water lang po. Tapos i-rinse niyo lang po.
Yeah. Para lang lumambot, no? And then
Yes po,
air
opo.
dry. Okay.
Kasi kapag iniwanan niyo po siya nakalublob sa parang babaliko po siya. Lalambot siya. Baka naman maiwanan. Tapos naiwanan niyo nakabaliko siya. Magkakaroon po ng bend.
Oo. Yung mga brush?
Yeah.
Opo.
Yung flat brush, mother, it's hard, di ba? But when we use it, it's supposed to be dry. So, sa running water natin siya palalambutin, hindi bababad.
Yes. Okay, tapos dry na.
Okay.
So kung napansin niyo po yung ating subject na isa, yung ating pair na nandun sa group chat. Yan, isa po yan. Light, napaka-light na green-yellow niyan. Pero ang pinaka-importante po dyan, mapalabas natin yung tone sa atin. Kaya may makikita kayo, may mga dark shades siya sa ilalim. Parang pinaka-shadow.
Yeah.
Don't worry po. I was also being asked by ma'am, kung pwede tayong makakapag two classes in a week. I can do that. I can split naman siya para po tuloy-tuloy yung ating class. Kaso, I have to clear pa po yung iba kong schedule muna eh. Until November po kasi medyo puno po yung schedule ko. But meron pa naman po ibang dates na available sa week. Like Monday and Wednesday po. Yun po yung aking mga available time.
Friday
Ngayon
lang ako.
po. Opo, Monday and Wednesday lang po ngayon ang available time ko.
Friday lang siguro ako makaka-join.
No problem po. Pwede naman pong Friday lang po muna. Taling schedule Friday. So if you have questions po regarding this one, you can still also practice with the other yung ating references. But on our next class, we will discuss more on and then apply yung ating color. So huwag po muna kayo ma-stress masyado. Practicein nyo po muna kahit medyo broad lang yung mga strokes nyo para lang yung application ng paint. Huwag kayong matakot pong mag-apply ng paint. Pero you can start lightly and then you can add more color pag nakakita nyo habang natutuyo siya. Yun po naman ang pinaka-importante sa painting, yung mapalabas natin yung shape and tone ng kulay.
Okay.
So ito recorded, we can watch you again anytime dun sa Messenger.
Yes, I will send po yung ating YouTube link after this class. So you can watch it again. Yung ating Zoom recording. For the external recording, maybe tomorrow po kasi kailangan i-edit ko pa po siya. Yung ating external recording. But yung ating external recording, medyo mas ano po yun, mas malinaw po siya. Ano po?
Mother, dun sa classroom, yung in-email or saan nga ba pinadala yon? Merong ano dun?
Nasa chat.
Opo, meron din po yung nandun din po yung ating mga references. And then you can also, siguro kung gusto nyo, pwede ko na po i-separate yung anyong classroom para doon nyo po makikita yung ating mga discussion. Since slightly medyo iba yung ating discussion, magda-diverge tayo ng konti starting from here po. From sa beginning. Medyo mag-slow down po tayo ng konti para hindi po kayo mabigla ng mga sa subjects at saka yung ating mga sessions.
Okay.
Okay, I have to go na rin.
Okay.
Sige po,
Thank you
see you
so
on our next meeting po.
See you on our next meeting. Update na lang tayo sa Messenger if ever.
Yes po. Thank
Okay.
you po so much.
Thank you.
Happy weekend. Bye.
Happy weekend po.
Thanks.